Howdy folks, this is Checkers, and this of course is the Elder Scrolls Online. And I've been spending quite a bit of time playing the Elder Scrolls Online lately. I even figured out how to pick locks, which took forever. But I thought I would give you a bit of a rambling impression, how I feel about the game. And a quite honest impression. To start with, I played in the beta back in the day, and I did not like the game. It was far more PvP centric, which is fine if that's what you're after. It's just not the Elder Scrolls. I never, from Arena to Skyrim, I never found myself thinking, you know what I really want is to run around and watch people gank each other with names like I kills noobs. The idea of living in or playing in a living Elder Scrolls world, that was more attractive though. But that's not what it was when it started. Aside from that, it was, well, level locked. You could only go to certain places if you were of a level. Otherwise, you would just immediately die. And at the moment, as far as I can tell, the Elder Scrolls Online has a rather ingenious system whereby a level-capped character and a level 1 character could be attacking the same thing at the same time, and each doing appropriate levels of damage. The level 1 would be doing just as much damage as the level-capped character, within reason, maybe a little bit less. So you can go anywhere, attempt anything, and you could do it with anyone you chose. That is actually reaching the promise of massively multiplayer games as I recall them long, long ago. I was actually a little bit a part of the massively multiplayer revolution back in the day, before Ultima Online was even called Ultima Online, when it was just a thought of two ex-Origin employees. I can't remember what the name was called way back when, but I was also in the alpha from the earliest alphas of Ultima Online forward. And massively multiplayer games were always meant, at that time at least, what they wanted them to be were extensions of the single-player game. So you weren't creating, or the idea was not to create a codependent system by which no one could accomplish anything without anyone else. This came later, this idea of you must have a group, you must have a team. And it wasn't an organic gameplay decision. It was a decision that was meant to have players market the game to others. You get a lot more subscriptions if Bob and Susie are trying to convince everyone they know to subscribe to their favorite game, because they can't do the content they're interested in unless they have X number of people to do it. That was the way multiplayer games, massively multiplayers, evolved into this current iteration. The way I think of it is most massively multiplayer games now behave as if, well, imagine you really liked baseball. So you took your baseball team everywhere. If you wanted to go shopping, you took your baseball team shopping. If you went out for drinks, you took your baseball team. If you wanted to go to the bathroom while you were out for drinks, you took your baseball team, because otherwise it was not safe, it was not effective. Well, I wonder what I ran into. Anyway. Let's go to a way shrine, shall we? I'm trying to find a specific way to a specific place. I just am not really very serious about it at the moment. So, not a big fan of MMOs in general, and I haven't had good experiences with them over the years. I play them solo. I play them with my friends occasionally too, but I've never been a part of guilds.
You're just the type
Every
Sergeant Anteve is looking for.
single time I've tried, I've had a really terrible experience. Like, they would get me to do their raid content or dungeons or what have you, and I would do very well. And one time I was drummed out of a guild that my friends had worked so hard to get me into because the name of my character was too similar to another player who had been a problem. And then the other time, I think they finally got me into a guild. The guild disbanded like a week later. So, in general, my opinion is it's not meant to be. That's fine with me. Even when I was healthier, I had a very strange schedule. I worked in theater, and most people don't operate on theater's schedules. My days could be anything from, 7 a.m. to 1 a.m., and that leaves only a little slice of time. Or something completely different, like 7 p.m. to 1 a.m., when shows were just running. Anyway, I never meshed up with the normal world, so my experiences always of MMOs are always solo, and always end when I strike the point where you just can't solo anything anymore. So I have, I think, a server and a half of level capped at least an expansion or two ago, I'm not sure which, of World of Warcraft characters. But then the game just runs out. Enter the Elder Scrolls Online. Now, like I said, in the beginning, this game did not attract me, but it's very different now. The idea that you can go anywhere and do anything, and much of the content is, if not entirely focused on being solo content, then certainly soloable. There are, of course, group things, dungeons, and I imagine raids. And honestly, for the first time, I might actually be interested in that because I'm having so much fun learning about the lore of the Elder Scrolls, learning about the world. I've learned more about the lore of the Elder Scrolls in, several months of the Elder Scrolls Online than I have in several years going back to the launch of the original Elder Scrolls Arena through Skyrim. For some reason, this game seems to be much better at delivering the lore and making it stick.
The Countess needs help.
In essence, it's a little bit better of a teacher. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoy it. I look forward to playing the game. My entire world essentially revolves around games now. I don't get to go out and do all the things that I want to do, but games allow me to go out and explore more than my little apartment. And I really appreciate that, but sometimes you play a game for too long, it can be almost as claustrophobic as the apartment. I want to change, I want to try new things. In general, after about 75 to 100 hours, I'm looking for something new to do. There are very few games that I can exceed that without forcing myself, and I have exceeded that in the Elder Scrolls Online quite happily and don't really see any end to it. I've just been enjoying exploring the world. And there is always more to explore. It is honestly amazing how much of this world there is. And whatever it was at the beginning, when it first launched, the Elder Scrolls Online is very different now. Perhaps some of that is my perception of it, but being able to go anywhere and do anything, having the ability to enter other alliances' territory, because remember, this game started out and still has 3 separate factions, and I don't believe in the beginning if you were, say, a member of the Aldmeri Dominion, like a good Khajiit, you could go to, say, where we are now, the Daggerfall Covenant. But now I can do that, and some of these places I'm exploring for the very first time. Some of them, like Daggerfall, I get to come back to after not having been there, well, for the first time, for a very long time.
Do you think this is the best time to bicker? You're not.
It takes a little while to get used to the combat. The combat is a bit obtuse, and it takes a while to realize that the game is not necessarily going to hold your hand, but that you don't necessarily need your hand held. You can choose the skills of your class. You can choose the skills of, say, the Fighters Guild. There are skill lines that you pick up as you meet different groups or experience different things, and these can completely change the way you build your character. Now, I'm not very much into the idea of character builds. I don't want to go look up a build and have the optimum. I want to mess around and do it wrong. I want to find the way that works the best for me. And the Elder Scrolls Online is absolutely fabulous for that. You can pretty much do anything you want. You want to have a plate-wearing sorcerer who uses 2 daggers? Knock yourself out. You want to have a dragon knight wearing light armor and using a staff? You can do it. And that is really pretty amazing. Alright. I didn't just instantly take to the game. I've been poking at this game since about 2016. For a while, I could not launch it. For quite a while, actually. It took the better part of
Stay on your toes, friend.
6 months to a year before I actually figured out a way to get the game to launch for me again. And the way I did that was to download the card game. I think it's Legends, Elder Scrolls Legends, or something like that. And when it installed its launcher, it fixed whatever error there was with the Elder Scrolls Online. What I think happened was I had uninstalled the Elder Scrolls Online and installed it to a different hard drive, and some sort of copy protection or perhaps just a bug kicked in, and it freaked out until it could be reassociated. And I actually went through my registry and deleted every single reference to the Elder Scrolls Online that I could find, and none of it helped. So I spent quite a while trying to make this game work, and then one day it occurred to me, hey, you know what, maybe if I tried installing another Bethesda game through their launcher, it might seek out and fix whatever the problem was. And lo and behold, miracle of miracles, I was right. You know, I've honestly been enjoying this game. I find the writing and the quests in general to be far superior to other MMOs that I've played. In other words, it's not written for a 10-year-old to figure out. A lot of it is more adult-oriented, not in an X-rated sort of way, just for an adult with a mind to actually enjoy, rather to be a little bit challenged, rather than the dull Fisher-Price puzzles you find in so many MMOs. There are themes of quite significant nature, and I really do appreciate that. And for as complex as the lore is, I find it far better presented than anything I've experienced in, say, Warcraft. Let's just, measure against the 600-pound gorilla. That's not to say Warcraft isn't fun in its own way, it's just, it is very simplistic. And the lore and the presentation are meant for the absolute least common denominator to be able to put two and two together and come up with something. And that could be someone who's not even supposed to legally be able to be playing the game and figuring out the puzzle, or, what have you. There are themes and puzzles in the Elder Scrolls Online that are far more appropriate for someone who's actually thinking and someone who is not 10. That's not to say 10-year-olds can't be sharp as a tack. It's just that most games don't treat them as if they are. One of these days I'm going to wander into this place I'm looking for, and it's going to surprise me. Is this a dead end? It's a dead end. Oh, this is a house. This is one of the houses you can have in the game. Hammerdeath Bungalow. The orcs have... I don't know if there's one in here or not. We can take a look. Orcs have a really interesting art style for some of their wall hangings. And all the races have very different styles, very different armor and art and architecture, and it's really kind of awesome to see it all. Okay, so this is empty, so we would have to press F5 for purchase options and switch to furnished and then preview. Ah, yes, here we go. I love these tapestries. The kind of angular, faceless, but I love the colors too, the copper and the blues and the greens. But anyway, this is a furnished orc home. There are, along with the more interesting and adult-oriented themes, there are so many systems in this game that make it very interesting to keep playing. This loading screen is probably going to take a while. Hopefully it won't cut off anything that I'm rambling on about. What I mean is, you can build different classes in very different ways. If you want to have a stealthy sorcerer who backstabs, as long as you join the Dark Brotherhood, you can do that. The Dark Brotherhood will give you the Blade of Woe, which will allow you to walk up to a humanoid creature and backstab them. Alright. Oh, I'm chasing different... Yeah, that would be a problem. Well, this is mainly just to ramble on and talk about the game, not so much to actually reach my destination. But So you have a very flexible skill system. Crafting took me quite a while to figure out. And you can take apart items to research them. So you can learn new abilities to add to items that you create later. You can improve items. So if you, say, found a green magic item, you could use crafting to improve that to a blue or purple or even gold item. Lock picking again here. So basically you just push down until it starts to rattle, and then you let go as quickly as you can. I might do a video on it. I had the hardest time figuring this one out. And then you get your loot. And you get a little bit of legerdemain, which is sort of like a thieves ability set. You also can earn legerdemain by fencing stolen goods or laundering them. So if you stole something, stolen items remain stolen until you launder them or fence them or destroy them or research them, what have you. Oh, here's a thieves trove too. There are so many little things to find in the world, so much lore to enjoy. The crafting is deep and interesting. You can craft furniture, so you can buy your house. You can then... You'll get various items from quests. I've gotten a few items from quests. You can also place your mounts and your non-combat pets in your house. You can learn to make furniture, so you can furnish your house. There are achievement furnishings. There are lots of very interesting systems. I played the game for a few months before I actually subscribed, and I did subscribe to the ESO Plus thing. The main attraction point for which is an unlimited crafting supplies holding. So as I gather up these rune stones, they and every other crafting thing goes into this bottomless bag. But the nice thing is you can just play the game. You know, it's buy to play. You don't have to subscribe. If you subscribe, I think you get the DLC and you get the bottomless crafting bag. You get a bunch of things, but you can decide if that's something you want to do. You can play it without the subscription, like I did for a few months, and see, you know, for me, I was like, well, you know, I'm having a lot of fun with this, so it's probably worth it for me to subscribe. You know, I would subscribe to Warcraft, and I would be fine with that, and so I can justify subscribing to this because I'm really, honestly, just having that much fun with it. I get up in the morning, and I can't wait to play. I go to bed at night and I'm thinking about the things I did all day and what I'm going to do the next day. And that is not common. There's a way shrine in there. We'll grab that. I don't even know where we are. But it's, you know, in that sense, it's Elder Scrolls. It doesn't matter. Point in a direction, go and have fun. And I've been doing that and I've been loving it. Ooh, way rest. And, yeah. So I wanted to do this as a, well, in the format that I'm doing it, because I wanted you to know it was entirely honest and off the cuff and from the heart, not something that I'd planned or, you know, highly edited to, you know, make the game look better. I honestly just love this game, and I am so shocked. I thought I would never try it again after its launch, and I have been one of the most hardcore opponents to it. But, you know, between many of you suggesting that I play the game and my own sort of estimation of when the Elder Scrolls 6 will occur, and being a bit disappointed with the Elder Scrolls Blades, I thought, you know, let's give it another whirl. I spent like a year just logging in and getting the login rewards. And I don't know if they stopped doing it or if they stopped doing it after you log in for so long, but they used to give out their crates. It does have loot boxes. And there is no justification for that. I mean, you can say, well, they're not charging
Please,
people who
listen
don't
to me for just a
subscribe
moment.
for
It's very
servers,
important.
but not a huge fan of the loot boxes. That being said, they gave me a whole whack load of them, so like this mount came from one of those, you know. But as long as you have the self-control, you don't really need to interact with them or buy them. It's up to you. And I think they have some way, there's some kind of gem thing where you can, like if you get things in the loot box you don't like, you can convert them and then buy things you do want. I'm firmly in the would rather everything were a part of the game and earnable in-game sort of thing. So not super thrilled by loot boxes, but on the other hand, I don't feel any pressure to buy them or spend money on them. And like I said, I don't know if they're still giving them out for free anymore or not, but they might be. Because I you know, maybe they were giving them away because their membership was lower, or, you know, there were fewer people playing, or maybe after a year and a half of just getting login rewards, the game was like, I think we've given you enough, we're cutting you off. But anyway, it's I exaggerate not even a little bit when I say I do wake up and I look so forward to playing this game. Oh. And I go to bed thinking about it, sometimes reading about it, you know, reading the lore books. I have found myself quite in love with the game, and that makes me so happy. I mean, it's not like Skyrim or even Daggerfall or Morrowind or Oblivion or even Arena, but their souls are here, and I do get the feeling that the people who are making this game, there's my cat knocking the TV remote down, the people who are making this game love the Elder Scrolls as much as I do. And that really kind of shows through. That pet came, I think, from one of those free loot boxes too. It is so much more than I had ever thought it would be. And I think, you know, if nothing else, it is an absolutely epic way to wait for the Elder Scrolls 6. There's been talk about, you know, Todd Howard wanting to do the, you know, some like magnum opus of his career, and that maybe it would be to create the Elder Scrolls Tamriel, sort of the entire empire. And I would love that. And you know, that not being in existence yet, or perhaps for another 20 or 30 years, I gotta say, I'm not exaggerating even a little bit. I love this game, and I have so much fun with it, and I think, you know, I can see videos that I want to make and things I want to talk about, and I hope you'll all join me for that. And what am I? Oh. I gather up everything, because I have a bottomless crafting bag. There's no reason for me not to grab up everything. Oh, they even have like daily crafting things so you can get better at crafting, and they're actually pretty rewarding, honestly. Well, there's a whole bunch of other things I could talk to, and I would drag this video out even longer than I already have, which is probably longer than I think it is, actually. But I'm super excited to play, and I'm super excited to share it. And I hope you can hear me over all the combat. And I can't actually wait to show you guys more and to learn more. And I feel like I found a gem hiding, you know, in a bag of stones. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to love it this much, or to have this much fun, or to become this enchanted by it. But I have, and I am so grateful for that. Alrighty. I think that's probably a good enough point to wrap it up. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I know there are things I don't think about, or things I forget, or things I don't know, and you know, you're always welcome to share all of that. Yeah, it's honestly, I mean, like, we can go to Hammerfell and look at the amazing architecture of the Red Guards, or the Khajiit, or the Dark Elves, of course, familiar with from Morrowind, but so many places that may have existed in the past in other Elder Scrolls games, but not in this sort of detail, not in this sort of beauty. Alright. For the moment, I would like to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video informative and maybe even just a little entertaining. I would like to invite you to subscribe. Thank you kindly if you are already subscribed. I'd also like to remind you that we will be visiting Elsweyr very soon. And also, I don't think I said this yet, but I'd like to invite you to like and share if you so desire. Most of all, though, I would like to ask you to please take care.